If thinking about budgeting and cash flow are words that give you instant anxiety, what we're going to go through today are two golden cash flow ratios to help you very quickly get a good idea if you can maybe save more, if you're saving enough now, and how to organize it all without it becoming a giant burden that stresses you out going forward. When it comes to cash flow, it's something that a lot of people don't like to do. And so I often think of it kind of as maintaining your own health. You try to find really quick ways to be able to get it all done, get healthy really quickly, and not have it become a big burden on your life. When I was in high school, for example, I was a skinny kid, and whether it be sports or probably most importantly girls, you want to look a certain way and you want to be a certain way for how you're projecting out to everybody else around you. And so you would try to eat a certain way, you try to go to exercise, you try to do all this kind of stuff. And a lot of times it'd be these crazy diets where you had to consume a certain protein drink or something like that. And anybody out there that's tried to do a diet, they've probably done it successfully for a little while, but not long term, because the diet is not a sustainable way to live the rest of your life every day forever. So what we want to do when it comes to whether it be diet or cash flow or anything else, we want to come up with a way that's sustainable. From a diet perspective, probably if you just put as much good stuff into your body as possible, limit the bad stuff as much as possible, and exercise to some degree, you're going to probably come out okay. And it's a way that you could structure it that you can actually live with it going forward. So when we go to about cash flow, the two golden rules that we're going to go through today when it comes to cash flow, one is a way to kind of see how much you're saving today and focus on that saving element. And two revolves around the 36% ratio that you may have come across if you ever applied for a mortgage or anything like that. So both of these concepts I talk about in my Financial Pinwheel book, and this is one of the most important pieces of the first part to really understand how money is coming in and what amount of that money is also going out. Most people will do a budget in the way that logically seems to make the most sense. They're going to write down every single expense that they have month after month, try to see where all their money is going. They could use apps for this. There's all different stuff you could try to use, but it's something that becomes tedious. And then the dog gets sick, it blows up your whole budget, and nobody wants to be typing numbers into a spreadsheet for the rest of their life every single day. That's just not an enjoyable way to live. So instead of focusing on every individual expense, the first part of the golden cash flow approach is to first say, how much am I saving? So every dollar that comes in, let's say $10,000 gets deposited into your account every month from what you're working. That's the net amount. The amount you actually receive in your pocket is $10,000 per month. That is all the money that can go somewhere, right? That can either be saved or it can be spent. Those are the only two options. There's no magic third option. It has to either be saved or spent. So if you have $10,000 coming in every month, and at the end of the month, $10,000 is gone, then you know how much you're living on. You're saving nothing out of the money that's coming into your pocket. $10,000 is coming in and going out. So in the financial pinwheel terms, that's how big your pinwheel is. That's how big your lifestyle is. It's $10,000 a month. And unless you're saving something through your 401k or otherwise, you're probably not saving a very large percentage of your income. So the first part is, how much am I saving? So if you look at, okay, this is how much I'm saving into my 401k or work or things before I get my paycheck, plus anything else I'm saving when it comes into my bank account. So are you saving to a Roth IRA, a regular IRA, a regular joint taxable account, anything like that? What am I saving? So add all that up and divide it by how much you're earning. So let's say that somebody is earning let's say $120,000 per year, and they save $500 into their 401k and $500 into their joint investment account. That's $1,000 out of that $10,000 a month. So they're saving about 10%. And that's the only number that you really want to be focusing on when it comes to savings. How much am I saving? How much am I putting towards myself first before I pay everybody else? I work really hard for my money. I should probably make sure I pay myself first before all of these other people that are trying to get to it. So a good ratio that works for most people is anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20%. Somewhere in that range is what you want to most likely be targeting. The more that you have in the way of company matching, the more that you have in the way of a pension at work, the lower that number has to be. So in that same example, let's say the employer is matching 5% of my income and I'm saving 10% of my income. Now I'm really saving 15% between me and my employer. So you want to look at that, but it's not so much where is all my money going, where are all the pennies and nickels and quarters going to on a monthly basis? What is the percent that I'm saving? And if you can't answer that question right now, I'd very much encourage you to take the 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes max to really say, okay, this is my savings rate. This is how much I am saving towards myself today. And if you're not saving anything, if you're giving all of your money away to other people, or you're only saving 1%, 2%, 5%, you probably want to try to find a way to increase that a little bit more because you are super, super important. The second thing that is part of the golden cash flow kind of approach or ratios is the 36% rule. So if you've ever applied for a mortgage, what happens when you go to a mortgage company is they don't ask you for your last 6 months of bank statements to go through every single individual expense that you have. There are certain expenses that they run off of your credit report to say, okay, these are the ones that are specific to you, and the other part of your expenses, your cell phone, your groceries, these are things everybody has. So we're not going to really focus too much on that. We want to focus just on the specific to you numbers. And they use the 36% ratio to get a good idea really quick if that is a number that will allow you to still make a mortgage payment or not. So again, back to our $10,000 a month example, let's say you're trying to look at your own situation and you're saying, okay, do I have additional room to save? I don't know. Joe, you're saying I should save 5% or 10% or 15%, but how much can I afford to save? What's a good way to quickly gauge, can I save a little bit more, or maybe I can't save? So the 36% ratio is what helps us out with this second part to give a really quick idea of if we would expect you to have any additional room to be able to save. So let's say $10,000 a month. If we take 36% of that, that's $3,600 per month. The other $6,400 a month, we're saying, we know that you can't save that. That's probably going to taxes, going to groceries, going to cell phone, going to gas in your car, all these expenses that everybody has. So let's just focus on that 36%, that $3,600 in this example. So let's say that you have a mortgage for $2,000 a month. That's a specific to you expense. That would come up on a credit report if they ran it on you. Let's say you have a car loan of $250 a month. Again, if they ran a credit report on you, that would come up. Let's say you have a student loan that's another $250 a month. Again, that's something that would come up on a credit report that's specific to you. So if I add those numbers up, the $2,000 mortgage, $250 car lease, and another $250 into student loans, we're at $2,500 a month in specific to you expenses. So that means $3,600 that we started with, the 36%, minus the $2,500, that specific to you number, we're left with about $1,100 a month. So somebody, if this was your situation, if this was true, that you earned about $10,000 a month, you should be able to save, according to this quick ratio, about $1,100 a month in savings. So that 36% is a great, really, really quick way to get an idea if you can save a certain amount of money. What path are you on? What track should you be able to save at? And for some people, they could save a little bit more. Some people, they can't really save that much because maybe they have higher living expenses than some other people. But it gives you a great starting point to say, hey, this is something that I can quickly get to and get an idea of how much should I be able to save. Some of the numbers that are on here that might be a little bit tricky, that may not come up on a credit report, would be other items that are very specific to you. So the biggest one for younger families especially is daycare. Daycare could be like a second mortgage payment. That is an important item to also include in the percent ratios. But overall, that gives you a quick idea to get to. And again, the overall theme is not knowing where every single individual penny goes. Some people spend more on nail salons. Some people spend more on sporting events. Some people spend more on fine food at the grocery store. We all have our own kind of flavor of variable living expenses that makes sense to us. But that 36% ratio, that making sure you're saving something towards yourself first, that's universal. So you want to make sure you're hitting a certain percent that you're saving towards yourself. And again, if you're not quite sure if you could save a little bit more, a little less, that 36% exercise can really be of help as well. So if you have any questions, as always, just reach out. You can also grab the financial pinwheel that goes into more detail, more examples, things of that nature for you to help complete it. And don't stress about cash flow. Just make a stand to get your savings in order, and then the rest kind of just falls into place.